Hey guys, what's going on? It's Peanuts, or Neo Peanuts, previously infamous Peanuts. Today we're going to be going through what airsoft guns I currently own, ones I've upgraded. My collection has kind of rotated just because I usually use a gun for a few months and I sell it and buy a new one, just to keep the collection nice and fresh. So without further ado, we're going to start off with the pistols and then move into the rifles. But the first pistol I want to talk about is the old reliable Elite Force 1911. This bad boy I got secondhand with this mag and 2 extended mags for a really sick deal, so I can't really complain about that. This thing kicks like a mule. No upgrades, it's totally stock. Threaded barrel. The only reason I got it is because I wanted the threaded barrel for the pistol you're going to see next. But I don't know what was wrong with it. It was just being funky in the new pistol, even though they're the same pistol. But you know how that goes. But this thing is fun. Very fun to use. Very fun to run around with. Reliable. CO2, which is, these are the only CO2 pistols I have, so perfect for wintertime. But let's move on to the next one, which is probably my preferred 1911 versus this one and the other one, which is going to be the I believe this is one of the anniversary ones. It's KWC, but they make the Elite Force one too. It's the same pistol, it's just different colors. But this one has the fake wood grips on it, which is kind of sick. Stainless slide, and then the gray lower. I bought the threaded barrel for this one just separately, just because, like I said, it was being funky in that one and this one, so I just decided to screw the headache and just buy a new one. This thing came with a gray mag, which is different from the black ones that came with the other 1911, but still very snappy and responsive, and it just looks cool because this is as close as I have to a Hitman silver baller that I can get right now. I know Vorsk makes the actual like silver ballers, but I really don't want to spend $200-300 on one or two of them. So this is as close as we're going to get, and I can still throw a suppressor on there and still run around like I'm Hitman, because video games are cool. Alright, next up, we are going to look at the small boy, which is my small 1911. It's kind of a sick gun, very fun to use. It costs like $50 brand new, so it's not an expensive gun by any means. But you can hide it pretty easily. And it came with this little small mag that goes right in there. Make sure this is empty before I do anything. And there you go, small 1911. Fun fact though, the Tokyo Marui 1911 mags actually fit. They fit snug, but they fit. They fit and they run. Now you have an extended, not extended because it's just a normal 1911 mag and a small 1911. So that's good. It's been a fun time. And then the final weird pistol, I guess I could say, will be the I can't remember the brand of this revolver. Probably says it somewhere on here. Does it not? Well, it's one of the cheap $50 ones. It doesn't shoot hot. It shoots like 200 FPS, but it uses these cool little shells. Cool little shells right here that you can then just load in. Only downside is you only get six shots, so it's just like any airsoft revolver. But yeah, it's single action or double action, so you can either just rattle them off or cock it and pull it. And then I have two sets of six, or it's HFC revolver, $50 green gas revolver. Just a fun gun. a lot of these guns that I buy, they're like the cheaper ones. I buy knowing that they're cheap guns, but I wanted a revolver and I don't want to spend $200 on a Smith & Wesson that shoots 400 FPS that I can't use in a game. I'd rather buy something that's cheap that actually shoots within limits. I know there's revolvers that shoot within limits, but this was only $50, so I can't really complain. And it came with I bought 2 sets of 6 bullets, mock bullets to put BBs in. Then you load them into the thing. And yeah, I have 18 shots. Give or take, I have to reload, which takes a while, but you know. Next up, we're going to have my 3 AAP01s. Starting off with the most stock one, which doesn't really look that stock, but this is a fully stock AAP01, 3D printed carbine kit that I bought the file for and decided to print it. It runs how it should. It's a carbine kit that's literally just a AAP01 with a stock and a drop stock adapter because I wear a dye mask and it helps me get my sight picture. But this thing, just fully stock, nothing different. It's just stock AAP. Okay, now moving on to the next AAP01. This baby has the cow internals, and then the extra little fun charging handle to rack it better. And the switch is a little bit nicer, I will say. That's really the only reason why I got this thing, is because you can just do. And it's good. But yeah. It's just a AAP01. No barrel upgrades on this one. Fully stock. But it's cool. It's fun to run around just a stock AAP because it's different. And they're accurate as shit right out of the box, which are nice. And they're cheap, so you can the 3 of those basically $300 and you're good to go. But this one by itself is probably a little bit more. This is my CTM AAP with the Loki TDC hop-up unit. Believe it's a unicorn inner barrel. The CTM ultralight blowback unit, cow guide rod. 1 short stroke because that's all I could get in there without it going berserk. CTM trigger, cow stainless innards, CTM lower grip, CTM charging handle. Basically everything on this is either CTM or cow. Cool little button switch to change it from full auto to stock, which is useful like the other one. It just makes it more convenient. And then you have the upper rail for optics and the lower rail, which is kind of sick, not gonna lie. Kind of a sick gun. And the trigger pull's not bad. I could probably tune it more, but I can't be bothered at this moment, so sorry. Coming up next, it's going to be my Glocks, which I have 2 of them. They're both 17s. I believe one's a Gen 3 and one's a Gen 4, but I could be mistaken. I know neither of them are Gen 5s, so probably Gen 3 and Gen 4. But I believe this is my Gen. This is a Gen 4. I think these both might be Gen 4s. I don't know. I like Glocks and I own a few Glocks, like real steel. I still can't remember what the difference is between like Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5. I know it has something to do with the grip and the stippling as well as the grooves on the front. I just don't know which one's which. I just know those are the really core differences, and the cut slides and all that kind of stuff, but they all kind of shoot the same. But first up is the Elite Force Glock 17. This bad boy has been upgraded to shit. Short stroke, actually no short strokes. Just a 150% spring. And this thing has a speed trigger. Very very nice to pull. It's a strong resistive pull, so it takes a little bit to pull it. It's not hair trigger, but it's a Glock. I mean, you can't really do much to a Glock. But the arm or sailing arms slide kit is basically the only upgrade other than a inner barrel and bucking. Stock hop up, stock nozzle or stock blowback housing, and then yeah, speed trigger, and that's really it. Everything else is just stock. I just wanted it because the slide kit, because it has a threaded barrel, and to buy a threaded barrel on its own, I couldn't find one for this model of Glock. I know they made them for Gen 3s, but I was stupid and bought a Gen 4, and plus the stainless slide looks kind of sick, so I can't really complain about that. But coming up next is probably my piece of resistance of pistols, Glock wise, including the APs and all the other ones. Basically the Glock mag taking pistols, like the APs and the Glocks, basically what I have. This thing is a Tokyo Marui Glock 17 with, I believe, the Zev slide kit. Everything's been upgraded on this thing. There's nothing stock except for the low frame, but this thing shoots absolutely perfectly straight, and I need to get a piece of Lexan to put on this RMR because I don't want it to get shot out, even though it's like a $30 replica. But you know, you only live once, so yeah. TM Glock, hard to find now, and if the build passes, probably even harder to find. But I got one, so I can't be too worried to get another one because I don't really need another TM Glock. Alrighty, let's get back into it. These are going to be all of the high kappas that I have, starting with the earliest one that's gone through a more recent update, but it's going to be I believe it's a Gunsmith Bros slide, the Infinity Cut, Rhombus Cut, whatever you want to call it. This bad boy, one of my favorites, shoots amazingly, has the AM hop up, AM outer, 9-ball inner, 4.3 guide plug. It's basically just, you probably could watch one of my previous videos and I think I go way in depth with this thing, but it's a workhorse and it's a super light trigger pull, which is kind of nice, kind of nifty. I got a stainless high kappa, and I decided to replace the black frame with the stainless silver one. So the black one's on a different gun now, and the stainless is on this one. I think it just makes it look cleaner, just because you have the more of a two-tone with the black and gray, or black and silver, I should say. And yeah, it's a gorgeous gun, and it has a little gas pedal because recoil. Up next is the second high cap I ever built, which oddly enough has the Speed QB slide on there. It was the lightest slide. I think the Dr. Black one is lighter, but this thing has the stock TM nozzle, AM hop up. I believe it has the LA Kappa fly hop in there. This is the only gun that has the LA Kappa Customs fly hop, just because all the other ones, I don't know, they're being finicky with how they're running. So all the rest of them have just Maple Leaf. I think they're Decepticon or Autobot, or one of the two, and they're like 60 or 70 degree buckings. But that being said, this thing is short stroke to shit. It only goes back about that much, just enough for the hammer to fall, or hammer to sit back and get locked in. And then the trigger pull's not as light as the silver one, but still light enough. You'll notice on 4/6 of the guns that I have, they all have this speed trigger on there. This thing is amazing. It has 2 ball bearings on the top and bottom, so the trigger pull is a lot smoother than what would be on a standard high kappa trigger. I don't know. It could just be something they just tell you and you believe it. But I've noticed that the trigger pull's a little bit smoother with the speed trigger. And that's the Speed QB slide. Oh, with the hexagonal AM barrel. That's great. This thing's so sexy on here. Purely because you can look through the slide, so it actually works, for lack of a better term. Next up is the third high kappa I built. I have 6 of them, so this is the third one that I built. I went super all out. You'll see later this grip used to be on a different gun, and you could probably tell which grip later on it was on this gun. But that grip was being super finicky and did not want to work with this, so back to the standard black one, and I don't actually mind it that much. Just blue, black, and just blue, black, and gold. And it is, I don't believe it's short stroked. Actually, it is a little bit. It's a little bit short stroked, but what can you do? This has one of the new necks with 2 X's, just necks, NEXX hop-up units. They're the TDC. They pretty much rival the like Kappa Customs one, and they're like $30, $20 or $30 cheaper. With the testing I've done with 3 of my guns having this, they all have the same bucking but different barrels, and then the next hop-up unit, they all shoot absolutely straight, like as straight as can be. They're kind of these hop-up units are no joke. They're kind of nutty, and I like the fact that you can get them in different colors, which I learned after the fact because I pre-ordered 3 of them, and I pre-ordered them in red, and I should have probably gotten one in blue to go with the blue, because now you can see the red, but you can't really see it, honestly. I'm not worried about it. I just wish I would have had the option, because I probably would have gotten a few different colors just to mess around with them. Now for the third one. This one I'm actually selling too. This is a Gunsmith Bros slide, LA Kappa Customs Tornado barrel. And it has a little bit of wear. I don't really like the rainbow, the finish that they, or the anodizing they put on it, because it scratches off really easily on the tornado barrels. They probably fixed it in the later ones, because this is one of the really early ones that they released. But everything else is kind of nice. I have their adapter, and that's honestly really it. But Unisoft hammer, speed trigger, cow sight, rear sights and hammer, and then AIP Army armament for the grip itself and the slide lock. This gun is basically a spare parts gun that I just bought. I bought parts for when I didn't have the actual parts. But the inner barrel itself, the inside of it, is pretty decked out with the AM hop-up unit, AM nozzle, and BBU. So this thing is an absolute gem, and the trigger pull is not. It's literally nothing. It gets a little stuck just because this is not a standard TM spec. Even though they say it's TM spec, it's not made for a TM high kappa, the pistol grip. So could do some sanding later down the road, but it shoots just fine, so I'm not really too worried about it. But yeah, purple. These next 2 I actually bought pretty close to one another. This one I bought on a whim because I found it on Hop Up, and the dude only wanted $147 for it, and it came with 2 mags, an extended mag, a tracer, an O-light, and the pistol. It had the black grip that was on that blue pistol, This is the one that's finicky on that one, but works perfectly fine on this one, so that's fine. I guess it's great. But this one has that next hop up in it too, and it actually has no short strokes, so it actually slide locks. And this is one of the ones that I run with green gas mags, and it feeds beautifully with green gas mags, and it's a blast to run with green gas mags. If you can afford to run a bunch of green gas mags, because I know they're expensive, they're like usually $35 to $40 a mag, and that's just pistol mags. Usually the rifle mags usually go up to $50 a piece. And if you can deal with not having 1,000 rounds on you at once, because of the EPM ones, if you have 4 of them, you have 1,000 rounds. The green gas mags, you have like 27, 28 rounds in the normal ones, and then 50 in the extended ones, which I only have 1 of. But in an open play, like a round, this thing is fine with running around with like 200 rounds. Like, you won't. Running around with a pistol is way different from a rifle, because a rifle you'll just lay down cover fire. With a pistol you can kind of get up and close and personal, and I usually only put like 1 or 2 into people. I prefer to only put 1 or 2 into people, just because I know I give them benefit of doubt to call it. It doesn't always work out in my favor, but I'd rather someone not be pissed at me for shooting them 85,000 times versus just popping them once and they're not feeling it. But yeah, beautiful pistol. This thing was a sick deal, and I've always wanted a blue pistol that is a 5.1, not a 4.3, and I really like the Norris slides, so I had one that was gold. I sold that one and I missed it, because this actually makes it look like an actual pistol, and I like when pistols actually look like pistols, excluding the Speedkey B one, because that one was limited edition, and that was when I was trying to do fast shit. But you know, next up is my budget high kappa. This shit is amazing for the price. The outer barrel, the trigger, the mag release, and then the slide lock are all the Lilacs Zerushin parts. I got the Midori Red, which is like a burgundy basically on this one. This barrel was actually in that blue pistol previously that I saw, or that I've showed, and I didn't really like how it meshed with the blue in there, so I replaced it with the silver stainless that I had sitting around, and then threw it into this gun. This one, you guys are gonna love this. It's a TM43 lower, Golden Eagle slide, $50 slide. Golden Eagle rear and front sights. Rear is like $8. Front, I think it was like $3. Stippled pistol grip, that was $8. Magwell, I think that was $4 or $5. And then inside, I have that next hop up, and then upgraded inner barrel, and then a maple leaf bucking. But everything else is stock. It's great. And the trigger pull is actually kind of minty. I had to do some sanding down, as you can see, like right above and below that magwell, because the mag release would not work with it, so I just had to sand it down a little bit. But other than that, everything just kind of went together, and I kind of dig this slide, I'm not gonna lie. I like the blackout look. So yeah, those are my high kappas. Let's move on to, I think we're moving on to the rifles now. It's on to the rifles. Alrighty, next up we have the rifles. We're going to start with the non-M4s and then go directly into M4s and then SMGs. This is the only non-M4 rifle that I own. It is a Redline N7 powered 74U with a barrel that goes all the way to the tip of the suppressor, as you can see on this camera. It's a really long barrel. I have to run this thing at, I believe, 60 psi for it to be shooting at 350, which is kind of nutty. I kind of want to change the inner barrel out to something that's short, so this suppressor I can put like a tracer unit on and actually run a tracer. But as outdoor guns go, this thing is golden. Bought a second hand, shoots well. Trigger pull is not bad. Came with 4 mags, 3 mid caps, 1 high cap. I kind of requested that because if I ran out of the 3 mid caps in open play, at least I could still play without high cap. But I prefer not to sound like a Morocco when I'm running around, so I might buy some more mid caps. But everything else is pretty much stock except for the obviously the engine and the Pro Win hop up that's in there. And I believe it has a Promi purple. Not 100% on that. But it's fun and it's good. This thing's really accurate, surprisingly, for, well, I'm not surprised because the barrel's, I think it's a 430 millimeter barrel, which is kind of crazy. No. This is probably like a 280, 260, 280 millimeter. There's no way this is a 430. But yeah, now we move on to my 2 tourney guns for speed saw, paintball style gameplay. All right, let's feel the hate. Let's feel the hate right now. First up is this one, this bad boy. Fully 3D printed, tank grip. Gets the grip on the back, but you know, you can't really win them all. This is, I'm not entirely sure if I can get behind having a tank on the pistol. The switching hands is, or on the grip itself, switching hands is not bad. I don't really mind the line, so this just makes it bulkier when it could be a lot slimmer and a lot smoother. But it has a jack in it, a super long barrel, which is the only reason why this thing's on the end of it. And then I believe, that was a buzz. And I believe it's a Retro Arms hop-up unit. I think it's a PDI 185 millimeter inner barrel. And then obviously the Max Trigger and Wolverine Storm. And then this is my actual tourney gun that I'll probably be running because it's very slimline. And if you notice, tank grip minus the tank. So I still have the line. So I can keep it really, really nice and tight on my person. And it's vertical pistol grip, so it doesn't crank in my hand by doing this and then trying to crank it back. So that's always nice. Oh, there's a BB in there. That's not optimal. Pick that up and throw it away. But yeah, Retro Arms mag release, or not mag release, selector switch, Minecraft mag release, and then an ARP9 rear pin, that's the orange one, and then the normal combat machine lower with the pin in there. Fully 3D printed upper, 3D printed end cap, 3D printed pistol grip, 3D printed Ranger plate. This thing's fun. This thing's very fun to use, and I've gotten to a point where the trigger pull on it's very minuscule, and it works really, really well. Arguably better than the one with the tank grip, even though it has a longer barrel. That one's more accurate. This thing puts out a lot more hate faster, so that's good. I just don't like to overshoot people, so when I use this thing I feel bad, but I only really use this thing when it's other really aggressive players that are more or less speed players. So this is like in the back pocket in case I need it. It's like the break glass in case of emergency gun, but you know, it is what it is. Moving on. Alright, moving on. We have my Milsim M4s. Which, I mean, the AK is also a Milsim gun, but I have a lot of M4s. So these are the Milsim M4s that I take to Milsims. And like outdoor play guns, I should say. Just because they're longer barrels. Except for the one, but the one's super accurate too, so. Starting is my Daniel Defense. Has a fusion engine, PTS grip, MOE stock. I believe it's the CTR, I could be mistaken. Really cheap, red dot, flashlight, real steel Magpul sights. And then I just have the orange flash hider in there just to cover up the threads, protect the threads. Usually when I run this thing, it's not really gonna have that on there. It's probably gonna have a black one that you'll see later on. It's on a different gun, but it has the red ME Pro max hop up unit, and it has a upgraded inner barrel. I believe it's Lambda or PDI. I don't know. This thing is stupid accurate. When I throw a suppressor on here, it's amazing indoor. Really fun gun. Always wanted a Mark 18, so here we are. Yeah. Moving on, this is another Milsim gun, but this one has an F2 and a blue speed trigger and max mag release, and it has the vector optics, real Magpul, QD sling mount and sling point. TLR1, it does have a tracer unit on it right now, but that's also just to protect the threads. I'll probably, if I run it outdoor, then I probably won't run tracers, so I don't really need this. I'll probably just run a suppressor. Magpul grip. The stubby stock, I believe that's a M4P. The Max M4P. This thing doesn't work anymore. It's kind of sad, but it's nice because it still has ambidextrous selectors, and now it has an ambidextrous mag release, which is nice. But that's not all. It also has a G&G pistol grip. That was not exciting at all. I just wanted to point that out. My tracer just turned on and beeped at me. But this thing, another Redline Milsim N7 powered, real Magpul PTS ACR, or Masada, I guess you should say. I found this one in the depths of pop-up, and it was from a trusted guy that I bought the AK off of, or no, I did not buy the AK off of him, but I had bought some stuff off of him before, and he seemed like a trustworthy guy, so I picked up Masada, because Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, and overpowered, but it's nice, because it already has a pretty upgraded hop-up unit, and he did a lot to it. It has a Madbull? Yeah, Madbull inner barrel. It's accurate, shoots, it's fun. It's really long and kind of heavy after a little bit, but it's not terrible. It's not the worst gun. It's not the worst thing ever. Clap, clap, clap. But yeah, there it is. There's the Masada. Don't mind the Ranger plate because that's on all of my PM1s, and I don't feel like printing off black ones because color, so I can actually see them. But yeah, Magpul Masada. Love the thing. It's more of a nostalgic gun than anything for me, so can only do so much to it. It's a V3 gearbox, so it's kind of weird, but whatever. Alright, the final two guns. This one's more of a cosplay gun, and this is probably one I'm going to take to Rev in December. I have a really soft spot for old school M4s, so that's exactly what I got. Old school, I believe it's an M16A2 Commando with the short mag and a long neck suppressor because it makes it quiet as fuck. And this is a Wolverine Reaper with a blackleaf board, so you can, it's kind of clicky. Let's see if I can get the mic to pick it up. Kind of, but not really. Oh, but I have the sight mount and a big old red dot to kind of mimic what was kind of happening back then. I believe this is from the 80s, early 90s, so love the thing. Clamshell, and it's iconic. Old school M4s are kind of iconic with the one-piece charging handle. You can't take it off, and charging handle still works, so that's good. Long ass non-vert suppressor. Does have a tracer unit in it right now. I will probably either buy another suppressor or buy another of these ones just because I like them, and the fact that I can't find the box where the rest of the foam is. So right now I'm shit out of luck if I wanted to take the tracer out. So I might just buy another one because they're fairly cheap. They're like, I think $35 for the one with the foam. But it takes these little guys. I believe these are 170 or 130. They're an odd amount, but they're short mag, so I can't really complain. But how sick does this look? This thing is so sexy looking. It's so good. I love it. I love it to death. I love old school M4s. And now we're gonna flip it on its head and go with the most Gucci'd out M4 I think I've ever owned. This thing is expensive as shit. It has the amped fusion, the green edition with the purple nozzle and all that kind of shit. Mac green outer barrel. BCM covers, BCM grip, Valkyrie Turbo, LEP, Olight, Bifrost limited edition. I believe it's the Lancer Tactical one that they had. Vector optics. I'm starting to really like these vector optics. Keychain mount with my team and my call sign on there. Peanuts, Neo Peanuts. Follow me on Instagram. Speed QB mag. That's not really part of the gun. Aztec trigger, max ambidextrous mag release, Mancraft upper and lower, Mancraft rail, Mac drop stock with real carbon fiber. Same with the outer barrel, is also carbon fiber. Lightning banjo, Mancraft selector. This thing's also overall a beast of a gun, and then a PTS pistol grip. This thing is probably going to go to tourneys with me because I'm a back player, so this thing will be fine. And it has the range to reach out and touch people over a distance with BBs in Minecraft. Finally, we have the two SMGs that I own. One of them is going to be a AR that's chambered at 9 that takes MP5 mags, which is going to be this one. SEMA Platinum 4590 selector switch, which is kind of sick, and I had to use the stock selector plate and the fusion that's in there to make sure that it works and it wasn't just semi and semi, because normal selector plates. Also, it's kind of funky with how it fit in there, so I'm glad that it works with the one that's stock. Takes MP5 mags. These are the 110, 120 round metal mags. I love these things to death. They click in perfectly fine. I put a piece of Velcro on the top of the mag well there, just to make sure that the mags seat properly every single time. Real Strike Industries M-Lock hand stop, BCM rail covers. I believe this is a Barrett muzzle device that I got off my Rec 7 when I had it, and then I just have it laying around, and I just wanted to cover up the barrel that's still kind of sticking out there. This is the SEMA Magpul stock. SEMA. Definitely not copying a certain stock. And then PTS pistol grip. I believe this has, this has the Max Sport hop-up unit. But yeah, this thing is a literal beast. It's super stubby, super fun to run around with, and the full auto is not shabby at all. It's really good. I love this thing to death. This is for sale, though, unfortunately. I know I just said that I love it so much. I'm just starting to downsize because, as you could tell by we're coming up with the last gun in my collection, I have a lot of fucking guns, and I have other hobbies that I need to fund, unfortunately, and those are also expensive hobbies. So, but anyway, moving on to the final gun, the final SMG. This is the third newest rifle style airsoft gun that I purchased. I got this one from Red Wolf because it was on pre-order everywhere else, and Red Wolf was the only place that actually had it in stock. This is the ARP 3.0 with the folding stock, and it may not look like the normal 3.0 because I put a fusion in it, and then I also put a 6-7-inch Mac carbon fiber rail, and then a Mac, I believe it's a 6-inch outer barrel in there. G&G hand stop that came with the initial rail that was on there. It was a 4-inch rail, so I just added some length to it. It's not really super short and stubby, but it kind of looks sick now with the profile that it has. Definitely not a real Trijicon RMR, but even though it says Trijicon RMR on it. Anyway, this thing's fun. Has the short stubby mags. I also have some of the PTS ones, the ARPM, whatever they're fucking called. But those things are like that long. They come out of the gun like all the way down to here. I kind of dig the look of these short ones. It's only too bad that they only hold 68, I think, rounds. But yeah, love this thing. I've played with it a few times so far. Still fairly new, as you can probably tell. There's literal no scratches on this thing. But yeah, I was really impressed with the stock gun, with how they handled the battery compartment, still being the folding stock and being in the rear. Because I had to take it apart to install the fusion in there. So I had a first-hand look on what the insides of everything looked like. I was thoroughly impressed with the insides of it, and G&G, the 2.0s and the 3.0s have really been stepping up the game. That being said, I've worked on a shit ton of 2.0s that have the... I'm gonna chalk it up to user error, just because most of them that come in are pretty shitty. The wiring on it needs a little work, but I think that's... Wiring in all of Airsoft needs a little work. The wiring is pretty shoddily done in 80% of Airsoft guns, unfortunately. Even the Polar Star, like the fusions and that kind of stuff, because the FCU wires that go to the battery are really tiny and they're soldered on. So I mean, they're secure, but one little pull or one snag and you're out of FCU, and you either have to solder it back on, or if you don't know how to solder, I guess you have to buy a new FCU for $50-$60. But it is what it is. Thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate you guys coming out, taking your time, watching the video. More gameplay videos will be coming soon. I have a bunch of footage I need to sort through to get a few videos out. Shorts will be starting up. Shorts will be more consistent going forward. I was just on vacation the time of this filming, and then I hadn't played for 3 or 4 weeks, so it was a month of I couldn't get footage, And then when I could, the field that I go to was pretty much dead for the most part, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.